Welcome to Fat Kids Food Porn, where we make great food with a drink in our hand. Today we are working on homemade Stromboli. I'm talking about scratch-made pizza dough and all the fixings. I'm really looking forward to this dish and I can't wait. Let's dive in. So I'm going to start with 3/4 of a cup of hot tap water. You want this to be about 110, 115. You don't want it too hot to where it kills the old yeasties off. We need them to do their work so that dough will rise. So 3/4 of a cup of warm water. And then I've got 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. Gotta give those yeasties something to chew on. And then you can use either active dry or instant yeast. Whichever you prefer, they are very interchangeable. I've got active, that's what I had in the old pantry. So I've got to sit here and wait 7 minutes to let these little guys get to going. So pour them in here, I'm gonna stir it up. You're gonna see this little frothiness where these little guys are eating and farting and everything else. It's actually pretty cool to sit here and watch. So I'm gonna give this about 7 minutes, let these guys do their thing. I'll be right back. All right, so it's been about 7 minutes. The yeasties have been feasting. We got a little bit of some foam on top. That means that they're doing their thing. Next in the pool, we are going to add 3/4 tablespoons of sea salt and 1/8 of a teaspoon of granulated garlic powder. Next up, I want 2 teaspoons of olive oil. You can go roughly 2, a little more. It's not going to hurt. The olive oil really gives your dough a great taste, just because I like how it brings out some great flavor in my dough. The one thing, whenever I do this, I can use this pizza dough either for Stromboli or for just some homemade pies. Whenever I make my homemade pies, I tweak it a little bit. I actually add in also an 1/8 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I also use 3/4 of a cup of wheat flour along with the bread flour that I'm about to throw in here. So this is going to call for about 2.5, 3 cups of flour, give or take. You're going to be able to see, so whenever you're blending this up, you can either do this by hand. Obviously I'm fat and I got a Rosie. I'm going to make her do the heavy lifting so that I don't have to do all that madness. But I'm going to get the flour going in. I'm going to add it 1 cup at a time, just so that I can see how much I actually really need. We start off on low. I get the bread hook on there. I'm going to let Rosie do the heavy lifting. You're looking for a tacky, not sticky consistency in your dough. Put that in there. I'm going to do a 1/3 cup because what I don't use, I'll end up putting on the counter as I get my dough ready to get it all filled up and ready to turn into a Stromboli. The one thing I do whenever I have Rosie, I do give her a hand, just because that bread hook doesn't always grab everything. So I got my little handy dandy spatula. I kind of feed the stuff in there in the center, let it get going. Once it starts grabbing everything, I'll turn the speed up. Don't do this too soon because you will have flour everywhere. And if you have a crazy redheaded wife at home, she will cuss you for making a mess in the kitchen. Just a little tip. As you can see, easy does it. Add a little bit at a time, see how the dough is coming out, and we'll go from there. All right, once we start getting to the consistency we're looking for, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to peel it. Again, I want tacky, not sticky. Now I'm going to move this into an olive oil lined bowl so we can let this rest and let the yeast continue doing their little function. Let's get our bowl. One thing whenever you do this with your olive oil, you can be generous. Make sure you roll it all the way up the sides, get that just all up around there. What we're going to do while this, or what we're wanting to see as we let this rest, is this should double in size. This recipe here, I'm going to be able to make 2 nice sized Stromboli. I'm going to make one for mums that don't have all the nice hot spicy stuff in it, and then one for me and the crazy redhead. So whenever I slap it in the bowl, I'm going to roll it around, make sure that I get that olive oil all over that dough. It's going to impart some flavor into it. Also, it's going to make it easier to work with. I use this bowl because I got a great lid that sits right on top of it. You can use saran wrap or any other bowl that you have a lid with that you can stick on there. Next step, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait an hour. It's going in the oven that's not turned on. I'll have the oven light on, let this set for an hour, double in size. I'm gonna get all of my condiments and all of the fillings I'm gonna be slapping in this Stromboli, so stay tuned. So it's been about an hour. Bread's been resting or proofing, whichever you would like to call it. It's doubled about in size. That flour I told you to save back, I've got it down here on my counter so I can make this easy to work with as I get ready to bust this up. Essentially, I'm going to take this and make 2 Strombolis out of this recipe. I'm actually going to use my roller to help me get to the size that I want. And then we will go from there. Biggest thing as you are doing this is make sure that this is even. You don't want thickness in one part and not in another. So as you're rolling it out, make sure that you have an even dough. All right, as you can see, I've rolled this out. I have preset the oven to 425 degrees. Now what I want to do is get ready to add in my toppings. I'm doing some pepperoni, some salami, some ham. I got some Italian sausage. I did do a pepper and onion blend. These are frozen, so I sauteed them a little bit, and I'm gonna do some jalapenos in one. Not the one for Ma, because she don't like that spicy shit. All right, now we're gonna start rolling this bad mammer jammer. First, I'm gonna just start by rolling it that way. Then we'll tuck my sides. Tuck them down so that they stay, and then pull your dough up and over onto it. Flip that bad mammer jammer over, even elongate it a little bit more. Now I'm gonna slap this on the pizza stone. Now, what I wanna do is I wanna take an egg, good egg wash, so that way it's nice and brown and just, oh, you can't beat it. One of the things you wanna make sure that you do, give it some breathing holes. So do some nice little cuts in there. I like to do this before I put the egg wash in, so that way the egg wash can get down in there and just really set that bad mammer jammer up. Necessarily need to do the egg wash. You could even just slap some olive oil on here. I just like it because of that nice golden brown texture that it gives it. Now, if you don't have a handy dandy cooking stone, don't fret. They do make those little special things. They have holes in the bottom that you can also cook these on. Or if you're just in a pinch and you're sitting at home and all you have is a pan that goes in the oven, just make sure you lube that up with some olive oil, stick it right on there, slap it in the oven, you'll be all set. All right, as you can see, I got 2 Stromboli ready to be slapped in the oven. Got one for Mammy, got one for the wifey and I got some jalapenos in mine. Oh, I can't wait for this to come out of the oven. I'm gonna slap it in here for 18 minutes. Can't wait for this to finish up. All right, we just pulled these bad mammer jammers out of the oven, and I did misspeak. I actually cooked these for 25 minutes. So thank goodness the oven has a light, so don't be opening that up and letting all the heat out. Turn that on, take a little peek, and make sure you get that golden brown and just ready to rock and roll. So find your favorite pizza sauce, slap it in a dish, get you a pizza cutter, cut this up, and just enjoy this with your family and friends. Again, the whole point of my show is for you to experience and try new things. There is nothing better than cooking dinner, food, or anything else and enjoying that with the ones that you love and that you care about. Until next time.